All right, guys. Outstanding practice yesterday with full pads. We put in short yardage. We had a lot of one-on-ones, bump combo drill, team run, a lot of competition. Some guys stepped up. We talked about next man up. I thought that Keishon Butte had a great day yesterday. Jacobin Guillory, those guys were making plays. Over the weekend, we had a lot of time to think about things that are going on. I talked to the team yesterday. I talked to Pete Carroll, my mentor, about how he's handling the things outside the football facility, the social injustice, racism, and we talked about it as a team. And we're getting more educated about it, letting our guys voice their opinions, talking about the things that they're going through and how we can be a part of the solution. I think it was a great, great day yesterday. Tremendous leadership on our football team, led by Jacoby Stevens and Andre Anthony and Miles Brennan. Those guys are doing a great job of leading our team. They had a player-only meeting for about 15 minutes to discuss Jamar leaving and to discuss Tyler leaving, obviously stepping up and not blinking and doing the things that we need to do, one team, one heartbeat. I thought it was a tremendous day for our football team. Obviously, over the weekend, Jamar and Tyler decided to leave. We wish them the best. They did everything that they could for LSU while they were here. Helped us win a championship, very integral part of our championship football team. We wish them the very best in the NFL and their training coming up, and we're going to support them 110%. Any questions?
Hey, Coach. Yeah, just along that lines, we've seen attrition before off of quality clubs, and I know it's a next man up philosophy, but how do you, or what did you talk to the kids about, the guys, I should say, the young men, about making those decisions, and I guess your thoughts now as we see more players using this opportunity to opt out?
Obviously everybody's situation is different. Jamar had a different situation than Tyler. I talked to them both about it. They told me the reasons why they wanted to leave. Obviously, that's up to them if they want to talk to them about that. They both had legitimate reasons why they left the team. It was hard. It was hard for both of them. Jamar, it was really hard for him to leave the team. And so was Tyler. So I think that those guys obviously talked to their families and made a decision. So that's their decision. Guys are going to opt out for different reasons. That's the time we're living in. But you know what? We have guys that are going to step up. There are some opportunities for new guys to come in, and we have a good roster that can handle that. Obviously, I don't want anybody else to opt out. I wish that that might be the last one, hopefully, but it may not be. But we got to deal with it.
You mentioned how y'all had this conversation about social injustice and racism. Team marches on Friday. Why weren't you there with them?
You know what? Here's what I want to ask you. Why you keep on printing stuff that would not come and ask me? And where are you getting your sources from? All y'all got to do is ask me. And if you want to know something about a football team, call me and ask me and try to say that you're printing about sources, okay?
I think we can have a conversation outside of this time when we're talking to reporters here as well.
I just told you how we're going to handle things here while I'm at LSU, okay?
Okay.
And if you want to have outside sources to talk about my football team and print something that I didn't say, that's your choice. Why don't you come ask me?
Ed, obviously, I understand a lot of it's going to stay in-house and whatnot, but I'm just curious what that experience was like for you on Friday and whatnot, just kind of learning from the players.
Yeah, it was different, obviously. But at the end, I had a meeting with the players. They voiced their opinion. I voiced mine. That was all handled in-house. I thought it was a good growing experience for both of us. For me as a head coach and for our football team, and for me to listen to what the things that are going on with them and why they did it, and being a part of the solution. So I thought that it ended up being a very productive day.
Hey, Coach. Ed here. Question about the coronavirus situation in the offensive line. Can you
Yeah.
clarify exactly what happened there and how many, can you say how many right now
Yeah.
that you have in quarantine or who tested positive?
Yeah, our whole offensive line was back as far as I know yesterday. It was good to see them. As far as I know, the whole offensive line was back practicing. You know, and I'm not going to give numbers, but, you know, here's what happens. There's a couple of guys that are going to be positive, maybe more, but there's some guys that are going to be around them, so they have to get quarantined. It's just like it is. But you know what? It's good that it happened now and not in the middle of the season. I tell you what, our team did a great job of adjusting. Our coaching staff did a great job of adjusting. So we got a whole offensive line back. We had a very physical practice yesterday. We didn't have any physical practices last week because of that. And it's just a situation. And it may come up with another unit. We just have to deal with it. Hey, you're on mute.
Okay. All right. You can hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. I was just curious, just obviously with Tyler now gone, you guys have lost, I think 4 off defensive line and
Yeah.
veterans for you guys. Just
Yeah.
kind of, how has the depth, chart kind of shifted, and just kind of how do you think some guys are stepping up in the last couple
Yeah,
of weeks?
you know, Jacoby Guillory had an outstanding practice yesterday, man. The guy made plays. Jacqueline Roy, those guys are going to have to play for us. Glenn Logan, and now Apuaka is going to start at nose. And what we did is, I'm going to tell you, that this was a hard decision. Joe Evans was doing really, really good on the offensive line. I mean, really, really blocking well. I talked to him today. I think that he has a chance to play on defense. So we're going to move him to defense today to add some depth, especially inside. Outside, we got some very good players. We got some young defensive end that are going to play a lot. Andre Anthony and Travis Moore is playing better. Then thank God we got Ali from junior college. And then we got Philip Webb and B.J. Ujulari that's coming, and Desmond is coming. So we have some young guys. They're going to have to play. And have to get better as the season goes on.
Hey, Coach, this is Josh Sibley with Louisiana Gridiron Football. With a player opting out or entering the transfer portal, will LSU be seeking a player or a grad transfer maybe this close to with school starting?
Yes, we're always looking for players. We're looking at players right now, obviously. We have some needs. We had a needed cornerback. But that was the only initial that we have. In order for us to sign people, we have to have initials. So that was the last initial scholarship that we have. And we're looking for a cornerback. And I think we're going to use it on a cornerback, and it should be happening soon.
Hey, Coach, can you say why you weren't at the beginning of the march? I mean, we saw you at the end. You spoke and everything. Could you have been there, the whole time?
I didn't even know what they were doing.
Right.
I wasn't informed of anything. Now I sent some coaches over there and see if they're gonna come to practice. And I walked in the 1:30 meeting. There wasn't a lot of people there. I went upstairs. I got a call. Hey, coach, the team would like to meet you. They're in the president's office. That's the next thing I heard. As far as a march through campus, I wasn't informed and all that. I wasn't. I didn't know anything about that. That was a players only deal. So I went with them when they called me, and that was at the president's office, and I'm glad I did.
Thanks.
Yeah, Ed, this is Ronnie. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Are there any other, players on your team who think may opt out this season that you've kind of talked to or try to anticipate? I mean, has that been the hardest thing to try to figure out?
Yeah. There's a couple of guys that are thinking about it, to be honest with you. And again, everyone's for different reasons, maybe family reasons or maybe health reason, or they may have something that they feel they need to opt for. Maybe there's one or two that I know are thinking about it. Hopefully they don't. But again, if they do this, that's what we're living in. But we have depth, And if they do opt out, we're still going to have a great football team.
Hey, Ed, you mentioned Jacoby Stevens and how he's been leading a lot of things happening away from the field. We saw him, helping with hurricane efforts and stuff like that. How much of it is maybe an asset to have a guy doing that kind of thing off the football field with your football team?
Phenomenal. I can't thank him enough for what he's done. He's done inside of, we had a leadership meeting on Monday. Our guys are having a meeting again today talking about things. We really opened up some dialogue and I know who team leaders are. It doesn't take me long to figure it out. When he speaks, everybody's listening. He's very intelligent. He has his family's from Louisiana. He's a great player, great young man. So he's a big asset to our football team.
Hey, Coach. Michael Cobble from WBRZ. I forget that we're supposed to identify ourselves.
I know you.
Just a football-related question here. Linebacker, can you kind of get us up to speed? Do you anticipate using as much nickel as you did last year? And who is that third linebacker if it's Damone and Jabril right now that are really leading the charge?
Yeah, we are most of the defenses that we're going to have to play are going to be nickel because of the spread offense. Now, we have practice and base, especially in short yardage when they're getting 22 personnel. We're putting in goal line today, so we have to play bigger players there. But most of all, it's going to be nickel. And, Jacoby Stevens, it all depends. If we need a nickel safety, Jacoby can be there. If we need a nickel corner, it can be Cordell Flott. And I tell you, the guy that's coming along is Jay Ward. So those three guys are really showing up there. But, the linebackers, Michael Baskerville is having a great camp. I think if you look at the three linebackers right now, without talking to Bo, I think it'd be Damone Clark, Jabril Cox, and Michael Baskerville. I think those three guys are the top guys right now. Thank you.
Hey, Coach. Paul Boron from Cox Sports Television. I jumped on a minute late, so I hope you didn't already address
All right.
this. But obviously, you've had an interest in McNeese State. I just wanted to get your thoughts on when you saw Laura coming on shore,
Yeah.
what your thoughts were, and the school's response to it as well, sending aid over
Yeah,
as well.
yeah, a lot of thoughts and prayers. Obviously, McNeese is close to my heart. Both of my sons played there. I coached there. I have some of my best friends that still live there. I'm in contact, Frank Wilson and his family. I think Frank Wilson's family stayed at my home in Mandeville for a couple of nights. Just we're very close to the situation. Michael Bonnet is here with me now. His sister lives right on the side of my boys, and I'm good friends with his daddy. So we was in great contact with all those guys. Our thoughts and our prayers. It's devastating. It's very hard to watch and to see. But you know what? I know those people are resilient, just like we are, and they're going to bounce back. We sent a truckload of supplies today, and anything I can do to help those guys, our football team, we're going to do it.
Coach, it's Brett Martell with AP. I have two quick ones, if you don't mind. I'll do one at a time. Just first, with Linehan taking over for Brady, how would you describe, in what ways is he similar, and in what ways would you say he's kind of his own?
He's brought in some different techniques for our receivers. He's brought in some things that he did in the NFL, especially for Eric Gilbert. I think that if you ask Jamar Chase, he was very happy with him, and we're still in the spread. There's some different concepts that we're running in the red zone and the tight red that he's brought into us. He's going to help me with game management in 2 minutes. The guy's been phenomenal. And one thing I'll say about Scott, he's been a head coach, he's been a coordinator, and he is about as level-headed and professional as anybody I've been around. He's a great staff guy. Our guys love him. Him and Mickey work well together. Him and Steve work well together. I think he was a tremendous hire.
And just in your vast experience as a head coach and an assistant, have you ever been on a team that has had so much turnover? Just not just on the roster, but also some key staff positions and just the season.
Yeah, it's going to happen. Championship teams. I'm sure that I don't remember because I wasn't the head coach. I remember the turnover, and I didn't have to face that at Miami and USC, but I'm sure we had them, but it's next man up, and that's why we got to recruit. But that's why you had LSU. You know, you have some good young players that can play. I know our guys are going to step up, but it is a lot of turnover, but it's a great challenge for our staff.
Hey, Coach, it's Ed again.
Okay?
Greg mentioned all the turnover. Does this kind of remind you a little bit of 2018 when you didn't have a lot of experience? And based on all the guys that you have lost, including the last two guys, how difficult will it be to get anywhere close to where you were last year, do you think?
Were you in my meeting this morning? That's exactly what we talked about. I mean, exactly. It reminded me of those times. And you know what? Especially the day after we lost to Troy. I mean, that, you know, the black clouds were all over, man. It wasn't good. But you know what? That's what I think that's one of the most important games we played since I've been coach here. That's when things started changing. That's when we got back to business. That's when we focused in on the daily tasks. We didn't start thinking about ahead. Every day we took one day at a time. I said, I'm going to enjoy myself coming to work. I'm going to enjoy coaching this football team. Whatever this team ends up to be, my job is to get them to be the best that they can be. And you know what? I think that when you coach that way and when you approach it that way and you get better on a daily basis, the process is going to take care of the results. So I kind of had to rethink that because I caught myself thinking, hey, man, we got to do this. We got to do this. It's got to be this way. And that's the wrong thinking. The best thinking is take it one day at a time. This is the team we have. Let's get them better. Let's see what's going to happen.
You mentioned that conversation with Pete Carroll. I'm just curious, what's going forward? What do you think the biggest kind of lesson or takeaway is going to be for you?
You know, I think for me is you know, when I say block out the noise, I mean when we come into work, we focus in on the task at hand, but it's not being oblivious to what's going on out there because obviously it's affecting our players. So if it's affecting our players, I need to be educated on what's going on, why it's going on, listen to them, open up some dialogue, and find some solutions.
Yeah, Ed, if on your team, if there's any team that can survive a position loss like losing Jamar, is it the receivers? Because of I think you've signed 8 receivers in your time at LSU and 3 tight ends, and a lot of them are 5- and 4-star guys.
That's what we discussed. I mean, if there's any position that could take that, would be the wide receivers and the defensive line because we had a lot of depth there. And you know, a guy that a lot of people don't talk about is a great player is Terrence Marshall. I think Terrence Marshall, you know, there's 200 balls between Jefferson and Jamar that's got to be caught. These guys are eager to catch them, man. So these are Keyshawn Butte, Coy Moore, those guys that stuck out, Jontre Kirkland, Racing McMatt, and Terrence Marshall. This is their time. And I think that what you're going to see is guys are going to step up, and there's going to be one new superstar that we don't know about because it's his time.
Coach, this is a fan in the stands question because I anticipate that we're going to find something out this week and probably won't hear from you again. But how much have you prepared your team for potential of limited fans or even no fans? And do you change your practices? Like you're used to practicing with noise. Have you had to adjust your communication sideline to field?
Yeah, that's a good point. First of all, I don't know what it's going to be, and I haven't been told that yet. But as soon as we find out, I think the team's going to know it. And when it comes time to do that, I'm going to talk to them about it. Here's what to expect. Now, this week we start preseason game number 1. So we're going into Tiger Stadium for the first time. We have not been in the Tiger Stadium yet. The only time we're going into Tiger Stadium in fall camp is to scrimmage. So we're going to have a big scrimmage. You know what? This is going to be a good time for me to talk to them about, hey, we have to create our own energy. We have to create our own excitement. It may not be what we expect, but, hey, the other team's there. They're here to win. Everybody's playing on an equal playing field. So it's going to be something new. I think if you pipe in noise, Mike, I think we pipe in noise for away games. But That's expecting a big crowd, obviously. But when you pop in noise, your players don't have to make the energy. And I think that's a mistake. I think that we have to learn how to make our own energy, how to create our own noise. That way we're going to have to do that on the sideline.
Okay, we got time for 2 more questions. We'll go with Glenn and then Tommy.
Coach, you're a former defensive line coach, and you really kind of took Tyler Shelvin under your wing. I thought you helped him lose weight. So did that kind of hurt you a little more that he's leaving? Because I think he could have probably really got better this season, whereas Chase would have just maybe been perfect.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I didn't want him to leave. I talked to his grandma, I talked to his mom and daddy, and talked to his mentors. And, I thought that he could stay here and be a dominant football player. Now, he's 375 pounds. I think the best weight for Tyler is 330. And I think that he can be a dominant force. And all these things I'm saying, I've talked to him personally. I love him, and I love him like a son. So I hope the best for him. He made that decision. I thought he should have stayed, obviously. But that was his decision. So here's what I told him. I said, hey, get your weight down to 330. Make sure you're in shape. And go have one heck of an NFL career and make us proud. That's all I can say.
Hey, Coach.
Yep.
Coach, can you talk about Miles Brennan and then Finley and Johnson as well, how the cornerbacks would look in
Yeah.
might be on the other side of the ball a lot of practically
Yeah.
on the cornerbacks if
Yeah.
can.
I think Miles is having an excellent camp. I think that he's doing everything we ask him to do. We grade him every day. He has a winning grade every day. I think he's taken a step forward where clearly right now he looks like he's the leader, but we haven't had a scrimmage yet. So I think that when we have live scrimmages and we get to grade the guys, I can tell you more, but I tell you this, all 3 of them look phenomenal to me. I think the guy that's made the most improvement is TJ. I think his balls have been phenomenal. Our guys are catching his balls. I've been impressed with Max's athletic ability, his ability to see the field, make right decisions. But right now, Miles is doing the complete job, and we're happy with him.
Okay, thank you, Coach.
Thank you, guys.